Jimmy Steinfeldt, friend of mine in, I was gonna say Hollywood. Lived in Laurel, we're Laurel Canyon guys, lived up in the canyon. I've known Jimmy now for quite a few years. He had a photography studio in LA. And we met, I don't know how we met, Jim, but we met and we've stayed in touch for 30, almost 40 years. Okay? So here's Jim, and he's gonna talk a little bit about a book, and he photographed prints several times. So, there you go. Your thing, you want the mic?
Sure, what the heck?
What the heck? You're looking for,
Oh, yeah,
It's
it
too
might
long.
not.
we got more
No,
mics.
I
it's
can just
short.
speak.
Hold on, we got another one.
I got a good voice,
Okay.
Joel, let's
Oh,
leave the
yeah.
mic.
Don't worry about it.
Put it on.
Okay.
All right.
Got enough.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, okay. So my name is Jimmy Steinfeldt, and I'm from Hopkins, Minnesota.
Years ago.
Yeah, many years ago, and then I moved all the way to downtown Minneapolis, where I would photograph prints for 14 years. Anyway, many tours, and I also photographed Jellybean. And I want to say that the stories that we just heard, I think, are amazing, personal, beautiful stories about the jelly bean. Is it okay for me to call him Bean?
Yes, of course.
I photographed him both on guitar and drums. So there you go. You also mentioned Pete Rhodes. And Pete Rhodes hired me to be the official photographer of the Minnesota Black Musicians Awards.
Black Music Award.
Black Music Award. All right. It's a long time ago.
I know, yeah. I was a baby, right?
And I did that for a couple of years. Eventually I moved to California, where I've had a photography studio for decades. I'm now living in the desert outside of that area, the Palm Springs area. So the first time I photographed prints was here.
Oh, I love it.
That's I shot this on 8/3/83.
Wow.
That's the first time I photographed
83.
prints, and this is the very night he recorded Purple Rain.
Wow.
Now, as the years go by, I just can't believe that I was there the night he recorded Purple Rain. It's just, we certainly didn't know at that time what it would become, the movie and everything. And that was a fundraiser for Lois Holton and the Minnesota Dance Theater. And speaking of the word Minnesota, very honored to be here at the Hall of Fame. Many of my other friends are featured here that I photographed through the years. It's really exciting. What else can I say? If you want to,
Tell a little about your book and the people you
yeah.
photographed.
Thank you. So, well, George Clinton's name was mentioned earlier. I photographed George Clinton. In fact, I had George up to my studio in the Hollywood Hills, where I did a portrait session with George, and I photographed him painting, because he's a very fine painter, and he spilled some paint on my floor. And I never cleaned it up.
I know that's right. Let it dry. Let it dry.
But this book came out about 10 years ago, Rock and Roll Lens. You see Michael Jackson on the cover with other notables, Madonna and Paul McCartney and so forth. And then I put out the second book, Rock and Roll Lens Volume 2. This is not for sale here because it's the only copy I have here. This is actually my mom's copy, but it's on my website. I did bring copies of this beautiful in color book, and I'd be happy to sign copies for anybody who would like one later today. I don't really know much else to say. What else do you want me to say, Joel?
Is there any cool stories of photography stories of where either a client had been meth or really good, or I'm also a photographer, so
very good.
I understand.
Thank you for feeding me some ideas.
You're welcome.
I will tell you how I met Prince. After I photographed this picture you saw here, I ran into Prince at Rudolph's barbecue.
The cornbread.
And I needed a late afternoon lunch. It must have been 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Of course, nobody goes to lunch at 2 or 3 in the afternoon except Prince was there with Apollonia. And I show up with a buddy of mine, and many of you remember how big that restaurant
Yes,
was.
it was
Many
nice.
rooms.
Yeah.
And of course, they seated me and my friend right next to Prince. I'd never met him before. I'd only photographed that show as a fan and a young photographer. And when they were finished with their meal, I said, all I had to do was lean over. That's how close he was. I said, Prince, I took some, I think, really good pictures of you at that benefit concert. I'd like to get them to you. And you all know that Prince was a man of few words. And he said, well, you can send them to my vanity.
Right.
I don't know what that means. I said,
You'll find them.
how do I do that?
Find
Where's
them
that?
yourself.
It says, they're in the back of all my records. So I went to Musicland and I looked at the back of the records. And there it was. Noli and the other guy. And I called them in the days when you could pick up a phone and call a management company and a human would answer.
That part.
And they said, yes, send some pictures. And then, of course, as I said earlier, we photographed them for the next 14 years. Now, this is interesting. A couple of years ago, this book came out. The
Yes.
cover is not my picture, but inside are my pictures. And they gave each photographer their own chapter. So it's really cool. There's my name, and I wrote a story about how I came to know Prince. And this is at Bunkers. This is Bunkers. And then the last time I photographed Prince
Oh, man.
was at the Hollywood Bowl when I moved to California. These 2 pictures. There's also the only picture in this whole book by all these wonderful photographers of the only picture of Paisley Park. I'm very proud is mine. And I was one of the first photographers invited to photograph Paisley Park when I lived here. So I think that's a good way to put it. And again, I want to thank you, Joel, so much for inviting me and the beautiful stories, Jellybean and Prince and everything that has to do with the history of Minnesota music, what has come out of this state that most people think California, New York, maybe Nashville. Look what's come out of Minnesota and continues to.